And we are live. Hello, folks. Thank you so much for being here. You are the enlightened few who have chosen to join us today for what I think is a really great session. Learn to love your inbox. It is our October version of our free Ninja Skill Booster session. And this one today, Learn to Love Your Inbox, is derived entirely from one of our best-selling programs, Getting Your Inbox to Zero. So one of our favorite ones. We know people love that one. So we're going to be talking about a little bit of those tips and techniques, but also how to change your relationship with email and with your inbox in particular. We've got some great tips for you, jam-packed session. So we're going to get right into it because I don't want to waste anybody's time. We've got lots to cover. Again, here I am. Some of you know me. It's nice to see some familiar faces on the call today. I am a productivity ninja. My name is Nick. I am out of the Southern Ontario portion of Canada. And yeah, I love what I do. My actual business card says I am a ninja, so that's incredible. And I'm here to help out today. A little bit about the company. A lot of you know us. You found us in the past. A work revolution where everyone loves Mondays. We believe that's possible. And on today's webinar and larger course Inbox Zero, all a part of the best-selling book, How to Be a Productivity Ninja. So that is where all of our stuff kind of comes from. Global training company, offices here in Canada, US, UK, Australia, around the world. So here we go. Where are we going today? Putting emails in their place. We're taking back the power. I always say that emails and your inbox are a really good employee, but a really terrible boss. So we should not be listening to email every time they tell us to do something. We should be the ones in charge. So today, 5 tips on how to tame your email so you can love your inbox. What we're covering today, yeah, that's where we're going. What I'd love to find out from you folks to kick off is I call it your email monster. How is email affecting your work and your well-being? A couple of words, doesn't have to be one or two or emojis. But what is your biggest pain point with email? Is it volume? Is it CC button? Is it, reply all? Let me know in the chat. What's your email monster? What's your biggest pain point? And how's it affecting you? The chat is open. Yeah, the numbers. I have tons of emails, too many unwanted, unsolicited emails. Thank you for playing along, team. This is great. Disorganized. Yeah, absolutely. Those are certainly some of the most common ones we see, especially on this course. Getting your inbox to zero, that means you have a lot, and people want to help with them. Other people reading them, so they're not aware that they need actioning. Wow, yeah, thank you for that. Brilliant. So we see it all, right? Why we often hate emails. Let's talk about the ugly stuff first before we get into the tips. Some stats for you. Each day, we're seeing about 120 emails received for most professionals, most individuals. Most are sending around 40 a day. We're working and checking our email, not just responding, but checking our email for about 3.5 hours of a working day, which is far too much. It relates to about 40% of the day people are spending an email. And I'll be honest with you, these numbers are outdated. This is a pre-pandemic number. So we're looking at emails received probably north of 150 right now. An email sent certainly north of 50, probably around the 55 in a day. And some of you are already responding that those numbers seem to relate. The bad news is email's here to stay. It is the most common communication medium. I will argue that it's the best. I don't know that it is certain, but it's here to stay. And by the end of this year, estimated 361 billion emails will be sent. And trending next year, 376 billion with a B emails. But here's the thing, it's often overused just because it's maybe the most convenient or the most common communication medium. Sometimes we overplay its value because it is certainly a source of distraction. And according to one study, it actually makes you a little bit more stupid. This is my favorite study in the whole world. This was done by King's College, which is out in the UK, and they gave 3 groups of individuals the same IQ test. So group A had no variables, no controls, just write an IQ test. The second group was subject to pings, dings, pop-ups, and alerts, what we call email distraction. And uh, the third group smoked a lot of pot and got really high and then wrote the IQ test. And you can kind of see the result on the screen. So the control group with no variables did the best. But then it was the pot smoking group who had the second best score. They had a 4-point deviation from the control group, from the standard group. And it was the email distraction group that did the worst. They had a 10-point variation from the group with no distractions. So, this is not me. This is not Think Productive advocating this, but some surveys are indicating you'd be better off getting high than dealing with all the email distractions that may come your way, which I think is a really, interesting survey. I'm not recommending it, but it's really interesting. Uh, Again, sometimes it is overplayed just because it's the most common. It's the primary source of office interruptions. Uh, you know, Email is a terrible boss, but a really good employee. So when we see that ping, that ding, that envelope, that pop up, it's stealing our focus. And Think Productive, we think focus is our most important resource. It's currency. And once it's spent, it's gone. And often leads to inefficient and long-winded communication trails. I'll tell you a short story. This is a real story. I once received an email in a company that said, "There's a cake in the kitchen." And then I got no fewer than 13 reply emails saying, "Yum. Mmm, sounds yummy. See you on break." Stop the madness. Like, why do we need this to happen? So sometimes, again, it is a lack of focus, stress, and overwhelm because it's just the most common and it's the most convenient uh, communication medium. So I'm going to ask you a question. Don't respond yet. I just want you to think about it. How many times are you checking your email in a day? Think about it. Don't respond yet. There's going to be a time for response a little bit later. So here's my offer. Again, be the boss. Email is a terrible boss, but a really great employee. So when we can control our emails, choose when we are checking, choose when we are responding, we're going to increase our attention and focus, increase our clarity, actually reduce our stress. It's been proven that just going to respond to email can cause a stress because it's, what do people want from me? That's one of the stressors. There's a potential meaning stressor. There is also the stressor of, an unclosed action loop. With every new email, it represents potentially something you have not done yet. The other stressor around our email revolves around our memory, and sometimes our memory is not as great as we may think it is. Um, I'll be honest, I have emailed myself something so that it stayed on top, and I was, more aware of it, more conscious of it. Uh, Let me know if you've done the same, but emailed yourself so it was at the top of the queue. For me, if anything ever went beneath the scroll, it was gone from my consciousness forever. So there's a short-term memory stressor. But when we're in control, again, we're more efficient and we can get more done. So here's why you're all here, folks. Some tips, right? You wanted some help, some assistance with this. I kind of mentioned it already. Email is maybe the most common communication medium right now, but it is just one. Don't overplay its use. So here is my golden rule. And if you listen to this and this piece alone, this could change how you view your relationship with your email. It's the golden rule. If you want to receive less emails, send less emails. Emails have a boomerang effect. And for every 5 we send out, 3 are coming back to us. If you want to receive less emails, send less emails. So that means, could you IM someone? Could this be a phone call? Could you stand up and ask someone a question? Could you take one person off a distribution list? So the golden rule, don't overplay the use of email just because it's the most common. It's not always the most efficient. So that's the golden rule of email from our Ninja Matt. And this is a great piece of advice from Ninja Matt as well. He's our Australian ninja. That every piece of comms communication is a step toward or away from your outcome. So you have to make it count. That's a really important piece of information. Are you going towards your outcome by sending this piece of communication? And often, again, email overplays its value. So that's tip one. Tip number two, and I promise you, I have changed lives just with this tip alone. And that is slow dramatic effect. Sometimes turn off your notifications. I love the idea of sometimes even turning off your emails. I know that's not going to work for everybody, but certainly turning off your notifications. So again, I asked you that running theme, that question, how many times do you check your email again? Still hold on to your answers. But I know some of you are going to say, check them. What do you mean my email is always on? And if your email is always on, turn off your notifications, especially the audio ones, the pings, the dings, the alerts. They are just attention stealers. They are focus thieves. You're not going to miss out on that email, especially if it's always on or if you're checking it really, really frequently. You know, you're going to get that email. I promise you. If you want to cheat, I still have once in a while that little pop-up envelope. I call it the ghost, just to kind of give me attention. But it doesn't mean that you need to respond to it right away as well, right? Email's great at telling you that there is email. Hey, come check me. Give me attention. Somebody likes you. It's a great, again, employee, terrible boss. Don't let email dictate when you're responding to email because it's great at letting you know. You have to batch process. You have to go into your email at specific times that work for you. Turning off emails and notifications, going dark. One of our ninja characters is a stealth and camouflage character. So again, could you be going into work offline mode? Could you be going dark at certain periods of the day? I know for Outlook, that work offline button, it's outlined in red there. It's a game changer, and I use it all the time because what it does, it puts a temporary pause on any new email coming in. So you can be in your calendar and your Microsoft To Do, you can compose an email, but it's going to put a temporary pause on any new email coming in. So you can just be focused and heads down on what you're doing. I will mention, just in case you're trying this button out, you do need to unselect it again when you're finished with it for your emails to come to you. I'll say that again. If you're working offline, you need to unselect it so that the emails will return to you. I don't want anyone getting in trouble saying that they've missed their email. Tip number three. Again, our ninja mindset is process, not check. Again, don't check emails whenever email tells you to. We've been mentioning this a couple of times now because email's really good about mentioning it. But when you choose and process in batches, meaning I'm going into my inbox and I'm going to do half an hour of replies, and then I'm going to get out and do something else. Or I'm going to get into my email and I'm going to respond to 3 emails, 3 that are most important, add the most value to my day. Always think in value as well. What is this email going to contribute? What impact does it have? Because sometimes we have to figure the old 80-20 rule. Excuse me, the 80-20 rule. A lot of you are familiar. 80% of our efforts come from 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts. So, if you're in sales, 80% of your profits will come from 20% of your products. Email's the same way. 80% of your emails require no action. They are informational. They are something for you to get eyes on, but they require no action. And 20% of your emails are going to produce 80% of your results. So again, thinking in terms of impact, thinking in terms of value, what emails are you responding to that are going to have a domino effect in terms of adding value or creating impact? Those are the ones you want to focus on. Don't assume the default response to each email is reply. It should probably be file or delete. And I'll take this a step further, the 80-20 rule. When we're in our inbox to zero workshops, it's probably closer to the 800-20 rule. And what I mean by that is for every 800 emails that are log jammed in your inbox, there's probably about 20 useful ones. And that's probably from every inbox we've ever seen. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, hard for some people, especially in this modern age. Don't do email on your phone. Checking it, sure, Can't avoid it, absolutely. But if it's, again, what we're talking about is an impactful email, if it's an actionable email, if it's adding value, that's going to be hard to knock out on your phone. Again, some people can be quite efficient at it, but I know for me, if it's a focus issue, I want to be at my computer proper, not on my phone, because it's just it's not gonna come out the way I intended it, or I'm not going to be able to focus on it just on my device, because that's one of the bad habits that a lot of us fall into with our email. And here's some other one: connectivity versus productivity. Uh, 52% of people check emails before work. Anyone want to admit to it? Any guilty parties here? I used to. I don't anymore. Here's what we recommend instead. And this is, for me, the most valuable thing we teach in any of our programs. Instead of starting every day checking your email, go to a post-it note or a very small piece of paper. I've got a little notepad. This is how I start my day. And write down the 5 things that, if you did them today, would have the greatest impact in your world or add the most value. What 5 things, if you can only do 5 things today, would have the greatest impact? That way, you are starting your day on your priorities. What happens typically if we're starting our days with email is we're responding to other people's priorities. So write down your 5 things on a post-it note. What would add the most impact to your day? Then, if you must, open your email and just do a quick scan. What has come in? Is it more of the same? Is it, the stuff that comes in every morning? If so, close down, back to your 5 things list. If something has come up that is important, that's going to add value, add it to your list. Then get out of it, start on those most important things. By doing that and that alone, you're going to change your productivity completely. Yeah, it is a trick like no other that I've seen in any program that we offer. This stat is ridiculously low, in my opinion. I don't know the sourcing. It's an HBR study. 25% of millennials and Gen X check emails on vacation. I think it's the inverse. I think it's probably closer to 75% that are doing that, but that's just my opinion. Here's the one I want to focus on. 21 minutes wasted on over checking email a day. So again, this study found that people are checking their email at least 15 times a day, which equates to about every 37 minutes. Every 37 minutes, people are checking their email. And what the study showed was, do people expect a response time, a response in that time frame? And the answers are actually no. So about 11% of customers and clients and only about 8% of coworkers expect a response in less than an hour. Once we get to that 1 hour mark, it goes up. 40% of people expect a response in about an hour. But if we were even to move our check of our email from every 37 minutes to once an hour, we would cut away 6 checks from our day and give ourselves at least 21 minutes back in our day, which is a really, really interesting stat. So now it's time to share. We asked you to kind of, think about it. How many times do you check your email in a day? Let me know in the chat. Is it 15 times a day? Is it once an hour? Is it once every 2 hours? Is it 4 times a day? Is it, unfortunately, it's always on? Secret answer D, right? 2 or 3 times an hour. Yeah. Continuously, Aubrey. Wow. Always on. Matthew. Yeah. Thank you for the transparency. And that's a common one. Uh, always 10. Yeah. We correct the over 10, always on. Yeah. So, especially folks, if it's always on, I implore you turn off the notifications, especially the audio ones. You can enable a chime, especially in Outlook, I think in Gmail as well, to override. So if you set your blanket notifications to off, but you apply a rule to certain individuals to play a chime, it would override it. So that's how I get around it. If you want a safety net, turn your notifications off as a standard, and then enable a chime just for 1 or 2 individuals, maybe, the boss or your CEO or your spouse. That way you'll never miss them. It would override your notifications off. But that's a nice little safety net that you can do in your settings. All right, final one, folks. And this is the big one. And this is why a lot of you are here today, right? Triage to zero. Our whole thing, getting your inbox to zero as often as possible, at least at the end of every week. Clear out the time. Here's the secret. Getting to zero the first time is going to take a little time, but after that, maintaining zero is actually not that difficult. That's what everyone finds when they're taking our course. And here's how we set it up. Again, obviously, we don't have time for the entire course today, but we recommend creating 3 processing folders. So there's 3 areas to the inbox, to our email, excuse me. The inbox itself, and that's where emails land, not where they live. And this has been the mistake for many people. 3 processing folders that I'm going to explain in a second, and then a couple reference folders, not 1,000 reference folders, a few. So our processing folders, the @action, @reading, and @waiting folders. So when things land in your inbox, you have a decision to make. For me, again, I gave you the golden rule. If you want to receive less email, send less email. The second golden rule is if you can respond to it in 2 minutes or less, do it right now. If it's going to take longer than 2 minutes, you're going to file this email into your @action folder and then come back to it when you have the appropriate amount of attention. And again, you're going to respond in batches. So, okay, I need to respond to some emails. These are the most impactful ones. I'm going to respond to them all in one batch. I'm going to get back to these lower value emails, still more than 2 minutes, but lower value at another time. So again, you're going to batch process based on importance, based on value, because they're going to live at your @action folder. I'm going to skip down to the bottom, your @waiting folder. This is, again, work, tasks that need to be done, but you're not next. Someone else has to do a part first. If you have a team underneath you, if you have, people you delegate to, if you've sent out a proposal, you can't do anything until that actionable email comes back. So it's you still want to check on people, right? Unfortunately, sometimes we have to chase. So your waiting folder is, I've sent this out to you on X date, but now I know I have a record of it. So if I need to follow up, if I need to chase, I'm on top of it. Nothing's going to fall through the cracks. And your @reading folder, all of your digital reading all in one place, whether it be email, newsletters, internal memos, policy changes, things you need to get your eyes on. Again, you're going to come back to it when you have the appropriate amount of attention. And these are where live or current things are only. So once you have actioned something from your @action folder, it no longer lives there. It's filed, archived, or deleted. Once you've read the October newsletter, it no longer lives there. It's filed, archived, or deleted as needed. So those are your 3 new magical folders. What we've covered today, we're running out of time fast. Put emails in their place. Our top 5 tips. Don't overplay the value just because it's the most common. Turn off notifications, especially the audio ones. Stop checking your email, process your email. Minimize your mobile emails, especially the high value ones, and triage your inbox into processing folders. I gave you the extra bonus tip, the golden rule. If you want to receive less email, send less email. If you want to know more about how to get your inbox to zero, if you want to know more tips about to have a better relationship with your email, the entire chapter 4 of how to be a productivity ninja is all about your relationship with your email. It's all about getting your inbox to zero. And because we like you, we're going to give someone a copy of the book today. If you do our little survey of our evaluation at the end of today's course, one person is going to be selected at random for a draw to get a copy of the book. So with that said, take out your phones. You've never heard that on a training session before. But if you want a chance to win the ebook, scan that QR code or copy down this link and let us know how we did today. It is not a long survey, I promise you. 2 minutes, 3 maybe. I'll put it in chat as well, just in case. But this is how you get entered into the book. And again, if you want, it's really incredible. Again, I have my copy digitally. I have a hard copy. I refer to it even as a ninja all the time Because like we said, that whole chapter 4 is all about getting your inbox to zero. Thinkproductive.com. That means North America. Thinkproductivena.com /NSB Ninja Skill Booster evaluation. Again, I love what I do. Surprise! I don't know if you could tell. And if I can be doing it any better, I want to be. So please help us out with that little evaluation. And again, if you want more information about the company and our upcoming skill boosters, our upcoming free workshops, our upcoming, open workshops for our full courses, there's another little QR code for you as well. And you'll be signed up for our newsletter, giving you, again, tips every month, but also letting you know when our public courses and our secret discounts are happening. Uh, Really great time with you folks today. Please reach out. Find me on socials. We'd love to hear from you. And all the best to you moving forward. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a great day. Cheers. Oh, that's very kind. Thank you. If anyone has questions, I'm happy to stick around for a couple minutes. Yeah, you're welcome. Cheers. The link, I put the link into chat. I'll put it back up here for the evaluation. I'll put the old triple W on it. Maybe that's why it didn't come up as a hyperlink. All the best, folks. Thank you so much. That's very kind.